Previously on Unranked.
How the kids? Kid was sick last week.
Yeah. Better now. Everyone's better. I don't know. I mean, it's
Feels like kids getting sick all the time.
Yeah, kids get sick a lot. Maybe one day you'll find out. Who knows?
Hello and welcome to the 475th episode of the Unranked podcast. Oh, wow, that feels like that's a big 25 away now from 5. I haven't thought about 500, but now I am. Christian Humes here, Tuna's out, but we have quite the Italian replacement, Italian himself, Giovanni, Colantonio, here on the show.
Hi, everybody. Great to be back. I'm hoping that today we got a good Pokemon for once for me to talk about. Really looking forward to that. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah. And of course, we have almost man of the hour, the great Tom Caswell himself.
Hello.
Tom, did you notice the jump cut during that?
During
that previously on?
At the end? Or
in the middle of it?
Between two scenes? Or like there were cuts in it?
Previously on Unranked.
How the kids? Kid was sick last week.
Yeah. Better now. Everyone's better. I don't know. I mean, it
feels like kids getting sick all the time.
Yeah, kids get sick a lot. Maybe.
Yeah, there was a jump cut there.
Yeah. So I accidentally deleted that full video. I originally wanted to hold on to that so that I could play the part that I cut out, because I think, Tom, it's time for me to share some news about myself.
Whoa! What?
Coming up.
I honestly didn't realize that we hadn't done this. So
yeah.
That's why I was confused as to why he posted.
Audio listeners still don't know what's happening yet, but
I also think video listeners will be a little confused as well.
That's right. Even
I'm
Gio's
confused.
finding out.
Yeah, this is exciting for me.
Gio is finding out as well. That's awesome.
Holy shit.
am T-minus, a dozen weeks and counting away from joining the fatherhood myself. I have my daddy Darth Vader shirt on and my weird dad hat that I got.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
That's
thrilling.
It is. It's
That's
exciting.
Thrilling.
It's very exciting.
How do you feel?
Excited, terrified, excited.
An excited sandwich.
Yeah. Excited for all the reasons you might imagine, terrified for all the same reasons you might imagine. Looking forward to a future daughter that I will be having this summer, which probably be the first and longest multi-week stretch that I'll probably take off from the podcast for a little bit.
Wow. It'll
probably just be Tom and Tuna and some guests for a little bit. I've not missed many.
Really good timing with the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out. It's going to be perfect for fatherhood.
I need this to actually come out, and I need it to not be like $1,000. I need it to be, because summer of Switch. It could be the summer of Switch for me.
Yeah.
It could be incredible.
You could
I'm really hoping.
You could have your child on your shoulder sleeping and do the mouse con on her back, because you can do it on any flat surface.
No, that's
just
so good.
Just sneak it in, play some Metroid.
And what Alex told me, and what a lot of people have told me, unless you end up with a kid that's colicky or just doesn't sleep, for a lot of people, those first 6 months, you're up and you're not sleeping great, but you're also just kind of waiting around and just not doing anything. And all of those people told me I played so much Switch during the first 6 months of my kid's life, and I'm like, man, the timing on this could not be better for a Switch 2 to come out.
Whenever you look at your child at any point in life, you're going to be like, this reminds me of Donkey Kong Bananza.
I'll when they're older, I'll pass down. I'll be like, this was the Switch 2 I got when you were born. Now it's yours.
I was playing Deltarune when you were being born.
You can have the Switch 2 I got at your birth. I'm gonna upgrade to the OLED. Here it is.
Yeah, that's true. If you think about it, your child might be 8 years old by the time the Switch 2 generation is over. And that's
Exactly. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Damn, full
Yeah.
adult at that point.
It's
Hell yeah.
exciting. I would have actually told you, because I don't think I ran into at the Game Awards this year.
Mm,
Um, but I think the last time I saw you was at Summer Games Fest.
Which
yes,
is
I think
funny
so.
because the Game Awards is where I learned
Yes,
that it
exactly.
was
You
happening.
would have found out. You would have known
I
the
Yeah.
know.
same
I
day.
could have known there. You've been hiding it
Yeah.
from me.
Did we go to see you? I guess not.
No, we
I
didn't. We
feel I
didn't.
feel like we went
We got
at
into
the
we snuck in,
yeah.
well, no, we got access to a party
We
and
snuck into
Okay.
a
then
Netflix
we
party.
didn't want to leave
I
it.
was at the JW as always.
Well,
Well,
no,
we,
it was in the
Oh,
JW.
I got invited to that, and then I was like, I'm not gonna go.
but they had free drinks and
I
there was no wait
love
at the bar.
I love the fact that
Yeah.
you were like, I'm still gonna go to the JW, but screw the Netflix party at the JW.
I was doing. I had
You're like, you know
networking.
what?
Yeah.
I prefer paying for overpriced water
Tom, he was
at
trying to
the.
work.
I was working. I was talking to,
You were
to
schmoozing.
He's
some
smoozing.
important folks.
Yeah.
And I was complaining about the JW mostly.
It was funny for me to come over to Tom at the JW and I was just like, Tom, check this out. He was like, what? And I'm like pulling something up. He's like, what you got? And then I just show him like a sonogram. He was like, what the fuck?
I didn't understand what was going on at first. I was like, why are you showing me this? And I was like,
Before
oh,
you
fuck.
showed him, did you say world premiere?
Oh, no, that would have been good. That would have been good.
That would have been good.
You should have done it.
I should have done that. That would have been incredible.
You could
Oh,
have done that on this podcast. Actually, you should go back in and cut
yeah,
in after the fact.
retroactively.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Maybe I'll world premiere. Now I can just grab that. And
Yeah, yeah. And now when people get to this part of the episode, they'll be
They'll
like,
know where
it pays off. Yeah.
They'll know where it came. All right. Now we can talk about today's Pokemon.
Yes.
Man, I didn't actually. Oh, we do. We do have a good Pokemon today.
Ooh, I'll be the judge of that, but yeah.
We do. We're at the tail end of Gen 4, so we've been getting bangers.
Oh, Gen 4. Okay.
I mean, tail end of every gen is usually like
Yeah, the
wrong,
mythicals
right?
and everything.
You
yeah,
get the starters, and then you have the doldrums for a while.
Yep.
And then you get the bangers again.
The fun stuff. And then that goes right into the starters. It's like you just get like a good few weeks of content for y'all.
Yep. So last week we had Porygon Z. This week
Porygon,
we have
Porygon Z.
the evolution from a male Curlia when exposed to a Dawnstone. Instead of Gardevoir, we now have Gallade.
Gallade. Good one.
Gallade's pretty cool.
Yes. What are our facts about Gallade?
Yeah.
Well, first I should describe it's white, it's bipedal, its arms are blade-like, sort of like leaf blade-like. It has a sort of hornish blade that comes up the top of its head, almost like a mohawk, but it doesn't continue far forward. And it's primarily white on, legs down. Its torso is green, and then same with the head. It has the white, the green, and it also has blue. There is also a Mega Gallade, which sort of gains wings and more red highlights on its
cape.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is more like a cape. You're right. It is more like a cape. I mean, pretty cool Pokemon. Looking at Gallade, you'd be like, if you didn't know what the Pokemon was, you might think grass type Pokemon, grass fighting, but it's actually a psychic fighting Pokemon. Tom, while Alex isn't here, would you please take over the duties talking about its etymology and spit out some fun facts?
Gallade may be
Gallade.
a combination of gallant and blade. Yep. And single fin on Gallade's head resembles the helmet worn by Murmillo class Roman gladiators, while the Corinthian helmet, wow. Big week for Tuna to miss out. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Or the Corinthian helmet with a horsehair crest worn by Greek hoplites. But it may also be based on medieval knights. So it kind of looks like a knight. This is such a sick Pokemon. And the fact that it's psychic fighting, and this is, I think, one of the few times where alternate form that's been introduced, an alternate evolution path that has been introduced, is like better than the OG. And I like God of War a lot, but like it competes at the very least with God of War.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's a sicko.
Yeah, it's got fun stat I guess damage and weakness kind of going on with it. Like the type combination that it has with psychic fighting is kind of fun
Yeah.
because I think it's only weak to flying, ghost, and fairy, and that's like it, which is
Yeah.
pretty good. Has no 4 times weaknesses. That's great. You know, nothing. There's no like hard counter to it. And it has a really high attack stat. That suckers, you know, I'm here for the
Yep.
Smogon as I did last time.
Yes.
Yeah, like that sucker's got a high attack
Freak.
stat. You know, that's good stuff. I don't
Yeah,
think
head to head,
I don't think it
God
gets
of
used
War,
much, honestly. But
it doesn't.
Interesting.
It doesn't. I don't think so either. But head to head, Gardevoir would actually kind of smoke this Pokemon because Gardevoir,
yes,
and I would, if I had to pick between the two in game, I would pick Gardevoir because it's Psychic Fairy, whereas it's Psychic
Yes.
Fighting. So it has that advantage over it because of the Fairy typing, and I find Fairy typing to be more useful than Fighting type, just because of their advantages. It's great Pokemon.
yes.
This one looks cooler though.
Yeah. Also, Gardevoir is more of a special attacker, and Gallade's more of an attacker, normal attacker, which
Yeah.
is good for fighting moves. You know, yeah. No, I always like
That's
Gallade.
true.
Gallade's one of those Pokemon that, like, whenever I do a run, I'm like, oh, I should do one of those. I've never done one of those before, and I just like never do that evolution line. But you know what? Maybe next time. Maybe next to Pokemon game on Switch 2, running with actual specs. Maybe it'll be useful.
It also is one of the few Pokemon that I would say I like its shiny.
Dude,
Really?
it's a great shiny.
It's like
It's a great
blue,
shiny.
what is that? Orange? Blue and orange?
Yeah, blue and orange.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sick.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Mega also, I think,
Yeah,
is
Mega's
great.
dope as hell.
Great Mega. Which-
Like a perfect what you want from a Mega evolution. Okay, let's give it a
Yep.
cape. Okay, let's give it
Geo,
wings, blades.
of all the gimmicks that they've done,
Mm.
are you a Mega guy? Because I think
He's a
it's the
Mega Man.
best.
I think Mega
What
is
am I calling him Mega Man?
Yeah, I like the Mega Man. Mega Evolutions is so good of a gimmick that I'm mad that they made it a gimmick
Oh.
and not just like the normal way that
Yes.
Pokemon works. Like it,
Agreed.
it drives me insane
Yep.
that like they really hit on something that was like a gameplay changing formula that like made the meta really interesting, and like I was like, oh shit, like this is going to be the future of Pokemon, and then they were just like, no, we don't actually give a shit about this, and it's like you had it, you did like terraform. What was the like crystallization
It was.
or whatever?
It was Terra.
Terrestrialization.
Terrestrialization. You did Z moves, and it's like, come on.
Z moves, man.
Everything
Fucking
you've done since Mega Pokemon
hate.
is like a worse version of Mega Pokemon.
I do
Yeah.
still think Z moves
What did
make
Sword
more
and
sense.
Shield do?
Like Sword and Shield did the fucking just like everything gets really tall.
oh, Gigantamax.
Oh,
Gigantamax,
Dynamax or
Yes.
Gigantamax,
Which is like-
which
Yeah.
Mega.
Yeah, it's just
That's
a
it.
worse version of Mega. They were just like, look,
Yeah.
Meowth's really tall.
Yeah.
I like some
It
of
was
those
just-
designs though.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
goofy.
Yeah.
They were
It
fun.
was definitely
you know?
goofy, but they at least they did recognize, because they had two great ideas in a row. They
Yeah.
did Megas, that was a great idea in a row. Then they dropped the ball, but they did when they did regionals with Alola.
Yes.
That was, at least they've been smart enough to continue that trend, because
Yeah,
regionals
thank
is
God.
great. Regionals
Yeah,
is great.
Regional Pokemon is really, really smart. That's if you had to like rank the gimmicks that they've done, it's like
Yeah.
Mega and then regional forms.
Well,
for
the
sure.
thing
Yep.
is like I think we've gotten to the point where regionals doesn't even feel like a gimmick anymore. As you
No.
said, Gio, like if they'd continued Mega Evolutions, we wouldn't view it as a gimmick. It's just a
Yep.
core baked in thing with this game. And regionals to me is like such an expectation now, and like what are we gonna get?
Yeah.
Like I'm almost as hyped for them as I am to see new Pokemon. And yeah, thank God they kept that around, because that would have been another fucking missed opportunity. And I'm stunned that they didn't screw the pooch, because that's something they just love to do. They just love. What's that? Screw the Poochiana.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
screw
they
the
screwed the
Poochyena.
Poochyena. Yeah.
And this before regionals, Gallade actually kind of falls into that because they're like, okay, we had Gardevoir, and now we're gonna do one that's just for the males. We're gonna do that a generation
This,
later,
this
right?
one's
That
for
was
the
like a way for
boys.
them to add in a new thing. This one, yeah, this one's for the boys.
This one's for the boys.
And they knocked out of the park, I think, with
Yeah,
Gallade.
I think
knocks
so.
it out
I
of the
think so.
park. Which
Let me read
means
you.
it's probably going to go high on the old
I think so
list.
too.
Ooh,
I'm gonna read you
okay.
Legends Arceus. Tom, you want to send him the list in the chat, the current list? I'm gonna read the Legends of Arceus Pokedex entry.
Okay.
Legends Arceus says the blades extending from its elbows are sharper than the finest swords. Its swordsmanship, albeit self-taught, is astonishingly impressive. Well,
Like a
I
Pokemon
mean, I
that has
guess
its own sword.
self-taught makes sense, right? Because all the time your Pokemon levels up and it just goes, it learned a move,
That's
right?
true. All Pokemon are kind of self-taught in that
Yeah.
regard.
They just need some XP and then they learn a move. Which, by the way, I'll contend this to the end of time. Z moves are one of those ideas that actually should have been incredible, but it was the execution that was bad. Because the concept of like you could train a Pokemon a unique move that like only that Pokemon can learn is great. But the execution of like you need to find a thing and then you're doing this Digimon synchro garbage and so, like that's bad. But there should have been
Yeah.
like a unique, like you have to do a thing with your Pokemon, or you can bring them to this person and they can unlock like a hidden, there was like the hidden move, right?
Yeah.
That's what a Z move should be, and every Pokemon should have one. And that's how it, and that could have opened up a whole new door. But
But they just love to ditch ideas. They love to get a
Yeah.
good one and then go like, no, let's do a bad thing in the next game. That was too good.
I mean, it's also like the closest we got to like them really fucking up and going into like human Pokemon fusion.
Right.
Because that's when they did the Ash Greninja and stuff like that. Like,
Right,
which
right.
we really didn't need. That
especially with the Gardevoir evolution line, it's like you can't make him human because people already are trying to get with him.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. People are
we
trying
can't
to
give
fuck
more
way
reason.
too many Pokemon as is.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gardevoir is like number one on the list.
You
I feel
think
like.
so?
It's like I think Gardevoir and then like Vaporeon.
I was about to say I'm pretty sure it's Vaporeon,
It's probably Vaporeon,
which
number
is
one. Yeah. That's what you
wrong.
should be ranking when you go through these
Wrong.
lists. Not the best Pokemon. You should rank them by the ones that people want to sleep with.
That want to sleep with.
Yeah. Or have, I guess. Yeah. You were like, oh, want to. Oh, okay.
Well, I was
Oh.
thinking like the Pokemon that you should least want to sleep with.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well,
Right.
it would be very different than the list you have now. Tom sent me the list, and I've got some deep confusion about what you have put on this list in what order. But
Well, this
that's
is
okay.
just this generation.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Like where's my boy Garchomp on this list? Sorry, I can't find my boy. He's number 16, but Leafeon's at number 1.
Leafeon rules.
I
Come
mean,
on.
EV supremacy is
There's some bias going on here.
yeah. I mean, look, no one's suggested that this is in any way objective, right? This is a very subjective list.
I appreciate Licky Licky at the bottom. I think that's fair.
Yeah, fucking trash.
Licky at the bottom.
I think Licky Licky belongs at the bottom. Kind of a weak generation of Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. It's okay, but I
It's
don't know.
okay. It's a passing generation.
But we're
Yeah,
getting
for
close to Gen 5, which I think is elite. I think Gen 5 is an elite generation of Pokemon.
I
think it's the
feel
worst
like
one.
Gen 4.
No way, dude.
I hate Gen 5 so much.
Oh,
Gen 4 at the time felt good because I would feel like I was disappointed
child.
with Gen 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Gen 3. Gen 3 is my favorite, like in terms of monster designs.
Gen 3, really?
Yeah, man, it's got my favorite Pokemon, my little Kyogre friend.
Oh, the legendaries are super sick.
They're
in Gen
unbelievable.
3.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
three
I'll
of
say
them. Oh,
I'll say this: Gen 5. So here's the thing I think about Gen 5.
sure.
I think starters in general just are kind of weak in a lot of generations.
Sure.
But I don't think it has great legendaries either. But I think the like middle run Pokemon are a lot better than normal. I think they have like a much higher average like batting because we just got a lot of new Pokemon that like are different species than we've had.
Yeah. because Gen 5 was the one where they did an entirely new, like, no old Pokemon. And they were also like, well, we got to have a lot of ideas. What if one's ice cream cone? But now we're spoiling later episodes here.
But we get the overall legendaries are bad, but it has good mythical Pokemon, which get ignored because most people don't, because they're only, generally gotten through events, so most people don't get them. But I think they kind of knock it out of the park with a lot of the new grass, like basic like plant Pokemon and like poison Pokemon, and like the new bird and the new cat are like pretty fucking like some of the best ones since like the OGs.
Yeah,
so
that's fair. Some of those are great.
But I get people not liking Embor and that just like ruining the generation for them,
Yeah, I didn't even remember who my starter was in that generation.
It's
a rough one.
All right, so we got to put this on the list.
Yeah. I'm curious what y'all think. I'm going off of what you already have here, right?
Yes.
And if I was ranking it based off of the way you have it here, it would probably be number 17 for me, right below Garchomp. But it sounds like you guys aren't as strong on Garchomp as I am, so maybe it's higher than that.
It's definitely batting in.
I think Tuna didn't like Garchomp.
That's so messed up. Can I like retroactively change the ranking?
Is freaking sweet. I like
Gio, we can have you come in on the episode because we decided when we finish the season we're gonna have one time to go through the list and reorder stuff. So we'll make sure to bring Gio in on the final episode of the season so that
I remember being annoyed with Tuna for being annoyed at Garchomp.
Yeah, because I think
I'm starting a mutiny against Tuna on this.
No, I
mean,
think I remember this. I think I remember Tom specifically wanting it higher, and I was kind of in the middle. Like I thought he should be a bit higher, but not as high as Tom wanted.
Pokemon Unbound, that mod for Fire Red. Gible is one of the starters that is offered because you get great, man. You get to pick from 3 dragons.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
And so I picked Gible. And so yeah, Garchomp is sweet. It's anyway, yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely in this area, but I look up at some of the ones above it and I think it's definitely better than Glameow. 100%.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I honestly, if we're not putting it at 17, right? Like, because we're under the assumption that maybe Garchomp moves later.
I'll be honest with you. I think I might like it more than Garchomp. Although I think Garchomp should be higher, I think I do like it more than Garchomp.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't necessarily like it more than Garchomp, but I like it more than some of the other Pokemon that's above it. I was looking at maybe right after Glaceon.
Tom, that's exactly where I was looking. I was I was like, why is Honchkrow so high?
Yeah, why is Honchkrow so high?
That's crazy. Yeah, I was thinking.
I mean, he is cool.
I was thinking anywhere between 7 and 17, so like 10 or whatever it is feels pretty much right in the money there. Whatever,
right 11. There.
Yeah, 11. That feels good.
The new number 11.
Yeah,
I like it.
This list is going to change at the end of the season.
Yes, like it's better.
Yeah, I think so.
Better.
Yeah,
I do think so. I think the top 10 is pretty strong, but it's still going to change.
Yeah,
because like
I think it would be better if Garchomp was in there.
Garchomp should be higher up. Garchomp, I think, should definitely be higher up.
And you got good legendaries coming too, so
everything's gonna get a lot of stuff's gonna get knocked down. A lot of stuff's about to get knocked down soon. That is absolutely true. Leafeon probably won't remain in the number 1 spot.
I don't think so. Yeah, but if it does, and if I come back here at the season finale and it's like, yeah, Leafeon's still there, I'm going to be like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you guys are out of your fucking minds.
Yeah.
You have to be stopped. All right. Well, there it is. The new number 11. We have Gallade. And now we can move on from Pokemon. I mean, before we get into
Pokemon
talking about games, is there anything off topic of interest? I already had, obviously, I led with my off topic information. Gio, you got anything you've been doing lately? Still playing in any leagues competitively or anything?
That's a great question. No, it's been you know what, a lot of travel is a lot of the things going on at once. Going up to Ithaca in like 2 weeks to my alma mater to give a to read a research paper. So
Okay.
like things like that have been going on. But no, it's been just a lot of chilling. I'm just trying to chill. Hey, things are so
Yeah.
stressful right now in the world, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
just chilling is pretty cool. I've been
Yeah.
bird watching quite a bit. Spring
Oh.
birds are out. I did my round of. I do some bird photography over in
Okay.
the park in the cemetery near me, and some good lovely little guys out. The mallards are still out, which is lovely. The some warblers and
Are
whatnot. They're
you
all
are you
chilling.
actively birding? Like, are you like looking up and
Yes,
cool?
I'm trying. I've always said this. Everybody in my industry, right? Who in press always goes into PR, right? That's their next step. They're like, oh, it's time to go into PR, and I'm like, no, we're going to change things, and I'm going to be the one to pioneer the games journalism to bird conservation pipeline. I'm going to be the first one to ever do it. I'm going to be a trendsetter. I'm going to get all these people to be like, yeah, you're right. We don't want to keep working in video games when we're done with video games. We want to not look at a screen. And that's my goal in this life is to get these nerds outside. We got to go outside. So yeah, no,
Can
I've
I
been
have a
burdened.
suggestion for you?
Please, yes.
Just because I get the to PR pipeline, right? Because they're
Right.
writing copy, they're doing, there's they're using some of their skills, right?
Of
And
course.
and
Yeah.
their experience. So
Of
you need
course.
to still find a way to meld your writing skills and your bird skills. Do you know where I'm going with this?
An editor for Audubon magazine?
No,
Because that's one that I've thought about.
you need to start, probably going to have to be black market first, but a black
Okay.
market carrier pigeon service. You need to start a messenger
Ooh.
pigeon service in New York City, like there
Okay.
used to be. I'm sure there
Yep.
probably are some. I bet there are some
Yeah.
that are very boutique and expensive, I'm sure, but you'll probably
Yeah.
have to do yours black market, like on your roof. You'll have to
Yeah.
like get a
Yeah.
little coop, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it is probably not too difficult because there are people that do this, right? You
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
probably just need to get
Mike
one that's
Tyson.
trained, or there you go. And then you do boutique messaging because people aren't going to be able to send messages anywhere securely anymore over
Right.
text. So you'll be doing like
Strapped
black
to a pigeon
market. Yeah,
is
you're going to write them down. The pigeons are going to fly them
much
around
more
the city.
secure.
I'm
I
gonna I'm
think
gonna
there's something
lead the
here.
revolution
Yeah,
through Pigeon. I'm gonna be sending
yeah,
messages that are like, "Hey, we meet tonight."
yeah.
Yeah.
It could be like
That's
a
a good
news
idea.
service, right? You can be
That's a good
getting
idea.
messages out to the masses through pigeons.
Yeah. What's in those messages? We won't say to the government. That's
No,
a
we
good idea.
won't. No, we
We won't
won't.
we won't say what's in them. But you can. Yeah, that's a good
Which is
idea.
our God-given right, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
Go fuck
I'll actually
yourself.
just be writing like indie game reviews and putting them on pigeons and sending them to random people and having them be like, what is
Well, it's
this?
a code, right? It's like
Right.
because you have to, if it does get intercepted, it reads like the blueprints review, but it really is like we meet at
Yeah.
600 hours. Yeah.
Six
I
separate
mean,
Tyrannos, whatever.
look,
Yeah.
there's gonna be people who are still there's gonna always be a small contingent of people that are like me that are like the last thing in the world I want to do is watch your YouTube video where you tell me about this game. I want to just be able to read it. I want to just pull it up
Yeah.
on my phone and be able to read it. Just because I'm tired of everything being in a video. I'm tired of being like, oh, how do I do this thing? And it's in a fucking
Oh
video and it drives me
God,
Yeah.
nuts.
so
So like
fucking annoying.
there's gonna be people who will be like, I want direct pigeon messaging services for information.
It's like
I
in The
agree with you.
Office when he does that woof or whatever,
Woof.
and it's into like facts and
Yeah, it's called Pidge.
pidge.
Pidge. Yeah.
Pidge.
Yeah.
It's like
That's a good idea.
Twitter, but with pigeons, right? So
That's
you get subscribers, they send you a message, and then
Mhm.
you send it out, and they can pay you however many pigeons,
Your company
right?
logo is just legally distinct enough for it. If you squint, it looks like the Twitter logo, but it's legally distinct.
I always had an idea for a social media app. This is reminding me of. I always wanted to do Regretter, and it was a social media app where every time you posted, it wouldn't go live until 24 hours later. But once you hit send, there was no way to stop it. So
Ooh.
if you like posted something really stupid or you were about to
That's
post something that was
awesome.
like gonna ruin your life, you like really had to think about it because it was like, uh-oh, I have to think about the fact that this post is going live for 24 hours, and what am I going to do when it goes live? Like, I really want to pioneer that one.
That's
That is
good.
good.
I like
Yeah.
that. I a quick story. I in college I took a business class, okay? And basically for the whole semester we had to come up we were developing talking about businesses, and then
Talk about
over the
business.
course of the semester had to develop a business, and the final project was like the pitch for the business.
Mhm.
And my team went off of my idea, and it was called Roadmap. Okay.
Ooh,
And
okay.
basically, it was, and you got to remember, this is 2011. Okay. Different world,
I remember this,
different,
Tom.
different feelings on how social media and all of that, right? Like way more naive about tons of
Hmm.
things. Um, it was basically you plugged in your information, right? So, you put in name, age, where you went to high school, what you do for a living, what are your hobbies, da 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 da. And you plug all of that information in, and it basically gives you a roadmap based on like, oh, 20% of people that like the brand of coffee you like to do this, and like just kind of gave you suggestions on like, oh, you work in this field, here are some job opportunities. And it would look like a like the idea would be it would be like a kind of constellation grid, and you would like check off like, oh, I got that job, or I bought this thing,
Hmm.
and it would continue to spiral out and give you
Like a
additional
spider web.
suggestions, like a web, like Madam's
Mhm,
web.
mhm.
And I got a really good grade, and then, but years later, I just realized I created like the most. I created the surveillance state, like in a
Yeah.
singular act.
Guess who did?
And
You
I was like,
you're talking about the
ooh,
thing where everyone's like, "Oh, my phone's listening to me." It's like, no, it just
yeah,
knows everything else about
it
you and
knows,
everyone
yeah,
else. Although now it probably is listening to you, but it certainly didn't need to, which was the even scarier thing.
yeah, yep, 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 yep.
It's like the machine in Westworld. It just knows. It knows what
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
I love that reveal at the end of season 2 where they're like, we were trying to write human code, and we thought it was, we thought it'd be this huge complex equation, but then it turned out it was very simple, and it's like just 42 pages of code or whatever. Fucking good reveal. And then that show went to shit. Um,
Well, if you think that, then I worry about what you're gonna think about Severance because they basically set up Severance to be the exact same show.
we will see. We shall see.
I was gonna say something, Gio, but I was like, he's gonna spot it.
I figured it out. I figured it out. Don't worry.
I was like, he
Right.
knows he's out of focus. He's gonna
Yeah,
figure it out.
this
I
camera
like that
beats.
Super Metroid poster.
I know. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm broadcasting from the Nintendo Switch 2 camera. I was.
Hell yeah, you gotta
That's gonna be
close. You just
great.
gotta close the little. You
Are
know.
you guys gonna record the podcast over game chat when that comes out?
Oh, we probably will do an
You
episode.
know, that reminds me, by the way, there is one like specific question that I really do want to know about the
Okay.
Switch, which is what are the new recording capabilities going to be?
Oh,
Because
okay.
it should be better considering
Hopefully.
everything they showed off. And the Switch
Hopefully.
One only allows you to record up to 30
30
seconds.
seconds, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Because I imagine if like if like sharing game footage is more of a thing, you would think you would care
Right.
about recording game footage as well. And it has a microphone, so like
Yeah.
and camera support and all this stuff. Uh, I don't know. The problem is though that like I think they made the game chat feature because social media doesn't exist anymore. So I don't think they want you to like record clips to like share anymore.
I know.
It's like no,
It's
just go in
just
game chat. That's how you're sharing your gameplay footage.
the problem is we do these challenges, man, right?
Yeah.
You know, where we give each other challenges, then we record them. Like it's like, all right, whoever does the best thing in X, game.
Yeah.
And we rarely do Switch stuff because it's limited to 30 seconds. And then otherwise it's so much more cumbersome to be like, all right, we need to get a capture unit, which like it's just never gonna work with Tuna. It's so unless like he can just record on the Switch himself, which is great. Like having one like real normie person on the podcast that like can't do anything technical, although it's limiting, it's one of those things that like an artist needs a box to have to work themselves out of, right? So like tuna is that box for us.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that about tuna.
I'm gonna next previously on is me saying that he's the box, and then it's also the clip of Matt making fun of his skills that it takes at a split fiction. Did you play? Did you do the laser hell challenge in split
Yes.
fiction?
I don't think I did like the achievement, if that's what you're talking about. The one that's
But
like,
did you complete it? Like you have to complete the
I think
5 like chambers or whatever it is. Okay,
I believe I did. Yeah.
we're attempting it. We've now gotten up to the 4th chamber, but we haven't been able to have another run at it. So I think we'll hopefully beat it on the next run. It's sick. It's so much fun.
Is that the one where you have to throw the ball back and forth, or is that a different one?
No, this is like a special. So like you could just pass it. It's like one of I don't know how many other hidden things there might be in this game, but there's like there's like computer code, and there's some buttons that like if you enter them, it brings you down to a secret laser lair. And
Oh,
so it's amazing. So there's this
It's
laser
toward the end of the
chamber.
game, Gio.
okay. I might have missed this.
It's in the Metroid level where you turn into the bulls.
Okay. Yeah.
It's awesome. In fact,
That
you
is
know
really
what?
cool.
We'll come back to it because I actually should just show you the clip because
Okay.
it's so nuts. But we've gotten up to the 4th chamber. It's if one person screws up, you have to start over. So like you
Right.
can't make any mistakes the whole time, which is
This is the
not
thing,
easy.
Gio, that the people who found it and completed it first get to go visit Hazelight. Remember this news
Oh,
story
yes.
from a couple
Okay.
of weeks ago?
Yes.
It's
Okay.
this hidden level that
Got it.
they're attempting. Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah,
That's cute.
so there's 5 chambers. So we got up to the 3rd, and then we got up to the 4th, but we haven't
Mhm.
beaten the 4th one now. And then even if we get through the 4th one, it's like then you have to beat the 5th one. And if you fuck up, you have to start entirely over again, which is madness. It's like absolute madness. Here it is. Let me show you. All right, so this is room 1.
Okay. Good Lord.
The second you land on the back platform, a timer starts. So if the other person doesn't get there in time, you also wipe.
Oh, good Lord, man. No.
This second room, I could do that second room with my eyes closed now. I've done it so many times. And now we're finally getting through this 3rd room. Like at least one of us does it. I'd say every other time now.
This is a nightmare to me.
It's so sick though. It's so
Yeah,
sick.
that is fun.
It's great because it's you know what's really fun in video games when you have a really hard challenge and you do see just like micro improvements and like each run we've done at it, we're playing for about an hour like on like work lunches that we can take, and it was just like I was like we just got to get into like we just both have to get to the end of the 3rd thing. We don't actually have to open the 4th just to open the 4th chamber. We both have to beat it at the same time. I was like today we both just need to get through the 3rd chamber. And then like I did it pretty early, and then he took a while, and then he got it, and I was like, all right, this is our last run, and then we both got it at the same time. And then the next time through, we got up to the 4th chamber so many more times. So now it's like, all right, the next time we just need to get to the final one, and then hopefully,
that's like the joy of Souls games for people, right? Where it's like a little bit better in this fight every time, which I don't feel. I'm a little bit worse every time.
It's the dream of meritocracy, right? It's the only place where it actually exists, right?
Yeah, you're right. In split fiction, laser minigame is the only place.
Yeah. I told Tom, I texted Tom on the side. I was like, Tom, I know you don't stream anymore, but maybe like Extra Life or like because I would love to do this with Tom as well. So I'm like trying to find a way to incentivize Tom to put himself through this process.
You got to do it
because I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great time.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Gio, hit us.
Yeah.
Hit us with that blueprints.
Let's talk about it, y'all. The big news of the week.
The big
Who saw this
VP.
coming? Who saw this coming? Who knew that this game was going to be the best reviewed of the game? Best reviewed game of the year. Best reviewed of the game of the game. Who knew? Oh, it was Colantonio, who was the first person to
Oh
play
my
this game
God.
publicly at GDC last year at the indie mix party. I was there when doors opened, and I walked in, and the first thing I did is I walked over and I played Blueprints because I had gotten an email from about it like a day before that was like, "Hey, we're revealing a new game during GDC weekend, by the way." And I was like, oh, "Okay, I'll be at the mix. I'll stop by and I'll play it. I don't know anything about it." First person publicly to play that game ever,
That's
according to the
sick.
developer of the game.
That's
And from
awesome.
that day, I was like, "This thing's gonna be huge this thing's gonna be incredibly sick when it comes out." I
I
was
could have
like, "This."
used that tip when I was drafting for Fantasy League and said Tom
Oh,
got it.
I drafted it in my fantasy league like at round 5. I was like, oh, I can just sit on this because nobody knows.
No one
Nobody
knows.
knows that this is going to be a 90 plus game. Uh, I got an I got an email from a person. This is the first time this ever happened a couple weeks ago, where somebody was like, "Hey, I play Fantasy Critic, and I drafted the DLC for Rise of the Golden Idol, and nobody reviewed it. Do you think like you could review it because like I want it to be what?" And I sent them like an email back, and I was like, "Why did you draft the DLC for an indie game that like barely got reviews in the first place?" And I was like, "Go draft Blueprints. Like you messed up. Just go draft that game and thank me later." And the person never responded to me, but I really hope that they
You
took my
hope that
advice.
they
And
took, yeah,
They
yeah.
yeah,
might not have drops on in their league.
I know that's possible. I said, "Go draft Blueprints and Despelote and thank me later." And I don't know if they haven't. Hopefully, they took that advice. Blueprints is phenomenal. Everything you've heard about it is legit. It's a hard game to describe, but I
It's
will
true.
try.
All of it.
Blueprints is a roguelike puzzle game. The idea of it is that your uncle has died, and in his will, he has left
R.I.P.
you. Yeah, RIP to your uncle. He has left you his manor, his estate, this massive, massive estate. The catch of his will, though, is it will not be executed unless you can find the 46th room of the estate, which is a hidden room somewhere in the estate, and you have to find it. Uh, the way the game plays out is that the house is split up into a grid, square grid, 9 by 5, all the way up. And you walk into a room. Each room is a square. You start in an entrance hallway. There are 3 doors, north, south, or north, east, west. And when you click on a door, it asks you to draft a new room. And you draft a room that has a different property to it. Maybe it does something. It has a certain amount of doors that lead out. Maybe it has certain items in it, etc. And then when you draft it, then you can walk into that room. So you're kind of in first person, and then like kind of doing a little, almost like I would compare it to like board games, like where you have to put down tiles to build the board,
Yeah.
right? Like if you ever played Betrayal on the House of the Hill
Yeah.
or whatever, something like that. So the idea of it is that you are trying to like get to this room by like getting through this thing and or getting to this mansion that changes
What's the
every
grid
time.
size? Like 5 by
It's 9 by 5.
10?
So
Not okay, 9 by 5.
yeah. So there are different rooms where it's like, oh, this one's a dead end, but maybe it is a closet that has stuff in it. But this one has like 3 doors that lead, so it's like valuable, and also it maybe has this item in it sometimes, or has this effect that happens in it. And that's where the game starts. It's a very kind of like tactile and satisfying roguelike in that sense, because you're kind of like, oh, you're just kind of plucking down rooms, and
Yeah.
then almost like connecting a jigsaw puzzle together. You have a certain amount of stamina, and each time you cross into a room, you lose a bit of stamina. So that's sort of like the thing that you have to be aware of. It's also like some doors will require keys, and some rooms will require gems to get like rare
Yep.
rooms. So you need to be like finding those resources as you go as well. There are items that will like randomly appear in rooms. So like a shovel will help you like dig holes, which you can find, you know, stuff in, et cetera, et cetera. And the game on its like on its surface, number one layer is just like you have to find the 46th room by doing these roguelike runs where you are pulling rooms and trying to figure out the secret of where this room is and how to get there. That's kind of all that you actually need to know. Don't
Right.
look up much more than that,
Yeah.
and certainly don't look up guides. But what I will
So
say is that the game goes
there's more
a
going
million.
on.
The game goes a
Right.
million layers.
Okay, great.
It is
great.
the kind of game I there were people in the press, so they set up a Discord for like critics, well, because we had this game for like a month, and like people could kind of sit and be like, what's going on in it? There are people who put like 100 hours into that game and haven't hit the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It is the depths of secrets that you find, and like the how intricate they are, and how like, whoa, this thing I've been staring at for 100 hours, I didn't realize is a clue. One of those kind of puzzle games. I know the developer was very inspired by Riven. That was like a huge kind of like North Star for him, and you can kind of feel that like Mist Riven kind of like vibe to it. That's
Definitely.
sort of like,
I definitely never played Riven, but I definitely feel the Mist vibes for sure.
yeah, that was a big influence on it, and you can definitely feel it when you play it. And yeah, it just goes like very deep, and you start to kind of figure out the deeper you go, like, oh, there's like kind of a story that you don't realize is there the entire time. And the deeper you get into the mysteries, the more you find out, like, oh, there's a lot more going on to like this family and the estate and like the country that this estate is in. It goes very, very deep into that. And just as a game of like a million aha moments where you like crack something and go like, oh, that's what this does, or like, oh, that's what this thing, this clue means. Really like wild obtuse stuff. The kind of game that you could like kind of just crack at. Again, if you don't look at guides, kind of game you can crack at for like years, and just be like, I'm gonna do a run today and just kind of see if I get anything. And the thing that's really cool about it, just beyond the secrets and whatnot, is that like, despite being just like a puzzle game, like an adventure puzzle game, it has all the same core tenets as a roguelike. Like it is a game where you are trying to learn a little bit more every run, and as long as you are like accomplishing something on a run, it's not wasted. There's a little bit of permanent upgrades to it, but like,
yeah,
the permanent upgrade is the stuff that you learn, right? And then each run you're like, oh, I know what this room does, and I know how maybe these two rooms, if I draft them together, does something, or I know what this item does and like what it does if I have this. And you just get a little bit better each time. And again, finding room 46 is only like really the beginning of it, right? There's so much more. I have way more game to go. Even 50 hours into it, I feel like I've scratched the surface of it still. It's fantastic, and I can't recommend it enough. It's, for me, far and beyond the best thing I've played this year. I found this year very disappointing for games so far, especially big stuff. This is the first I've played like one or two things where I'm really like, oh, this is one of the games of the year, and that's number one on the list.
I have a question about, so obviously, like, it seems that the reason this game is being as lauded as it is goes well beyond the actual like end of the game.
Yeah.
And the idea of putting 50 at the minimum hours into something like this is a little daunting. Is that still like, because it seems that like once you hit room 46 and hit credits, everyone else has been like, no, I need to keep playing, but is that like base, I guess, experience good? Like,
no, I think the base experience is fantastic. Like, that part of the game is really great because you're learning so much in that time. Again, it has the feel of a roguelike where you're like, it has the same exact pulls. It's just you're not doing, you're not killing a bunch of things
or something.
It's really like, you'll kind of find like, oh, we're so bad at making video games, like in the sense that like we think that all games have to have this like action draw, but actually you can take the same genre and remove all of that, and like the game still has all of the same appeal and whatever to it, just pushed in a very different way. I will say that like my experience of getting to just like the first credits of it was like exhilarating. Like the run where I actually cracked it, I was like feral when I figured it out. I was like off the walls, like, I can't believe I figured this out. Holy crap, I can't believe it all came together. It makes you feel like a genius. And it just makes you feel like, because I mean, like, again, it doesn't signpost anything, it's just all like, what have I learned? Which is why I'm also like, don't use guides like as much as you can.
Right.
Like, really just let this thing be
Could you
like
even do that? Isn't it like randomly generated, the
There's
so
rooms?
it is randomly generated, but there is a lot that you could read guides
there's going to be
on.
hidden stuff. There's going to be rooms, Tom, that like so like I've played the demo. I've probably done
Yeah.
like 10 runs on the
Yeah.
demo. Which were never great because the demo on both my Mac and the Steam Deck didn't scale right, so I couldn't actually like always see like how many steps I had or things like
Yeah.
just because it just like didn't fit right the demo for whatever reason. So I'm hoping the Steam Deck version on the full version will play
I've been playing
correctly.
I've been playing on deck, and it's
Great.
very well optimized for it.
So I have a flight tomorrow and I'm going to play
Oh
the
yeah.
entire time.
That will eat up the whole time on
I'm
that
very
flight,
excited
man.
about it.
That's time travel.
But when I played with Tom, it looked like we got very close to the end. But the thing I was saying was like, there is so much probably going on that we are just walking past and have no idea is actually here.
Yes.
And the thing that we think we're doing isn't probably what we actually need to be doing. So I like I'm certain like, yes, I need to understand what like I sort of get what the point of the security room and like the fuses are for. Like I've definitely messed with the power, but I don't think I totally understand it. And I have a feeling that even those mechanics are actually a lot more superficial than there's got to be stuff that like I bet there are some of these rooms where it seems like there's nothing going on. There's certainly something happening here. And like we're just not going to know until we finally figure that out and come across that. Like it's discovery.
Yeah.
Like novel discovery is my absolute favorite thing in video games. So I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's really a pen and paper kind of game. Like you want a notebook with it. You want to be taking screenshots, just have a folder of screenshots, like which, I think some people love that, and some people are like, give me the tools in the game to
Yeah.
organize this, which I think is also very fair. But if you like a good pen and paper game, I think it's great. I think the only thing that can get frustrating with it is it is very RNG based, right? It is
Yeah.
very like you're pulling random rooms. Sometimes you're just going to hit runs where you're like, I'm trying to do this specific thing, but it requires me to pull have like 2 or 3 stars align in the same run, which is very hard to do. And my advice for that is like, don't go into runs like trying to do one thing.
Yeah.
There are so many mysteries that you kind of like threads that you get at the same time, and like directions you can kind of go in and things that you can solve, that like you almost want to treat it like Balatro, where it's like,
Bro,
Balatro,
I was about to say I
Yeah.
learned this lesson from Bellato, and I'm
Yep.
excited to have a different game rip that out of my hands because I'm still I'm psychotically going for the completionist plus plus now on the
Yeah.
iPad because I'm a lunatic. I fucking love this game. It's one of the best video games I've ever played in my life, and I'm an absolute sicko with that game. I'm gold staking everything right now. Man,
Yeah.
it is.
It reminds me of it because like Balatro, right? It's that thing where like if you go into Balatro and you're like, oh, on this run, I'm gonna do a pairs deck. And it's like, well, if you don't get good jokers for that,
Right.
like you have to be reactive, right? Like you have to be like, what did I get? Okay, I can work with this. I can start building around this.
I'm always
Like,
trying to build flushes, but I don't get them.
Right, exactly.
I don't get
Yeah.
the flush. I'm not going for it.
Yeah. So Blueprints is kind of like that in a weird roundabout way where it's like you are going to get into a place and like start drafting some rooms and get an item and be like, okay, I kind of have the things I need to start like chasing down this mystery on this run. And even like just doing one small thing feels really good. Like getting a new clue from something or solving something is like, cool. I didn't get to anywhere near the end, but like
Yeah.
I got this piece of information, and that's like one mystery off the list. And they just give you so many of those to kind of chase at once, that like so long as you kind of have multiple threads at any given time, you're good to go. It's just those moments where like maybe you don't know what to do next, where it's like you might hit a slowdown for a while, and those are the moments I think where the game kind of like slows down a little bit. But yeah, like that's my advice for it. Like truly treat it like Balatro. It's like take whatever's dealt to you in the random draws, and then like start to be like, what mysteries can I chase, with this stuff. That's kind of how I handle it.
I don't want you to spoil anything, but
Of course.
I just
And I won't.
but I'm hoping there will be moments in this game that are kind of like when you solve what's actually going on in Fez, when you solve what's happening in like the Witness, when suddenly you learn when you understand the puzzles in Tunic and suddenly it's like there's this hidden language that's literally been in front of you the whole time. And like that's what I'm really hoping to find in this. It sounds like maybe it's not quite that overt, whereas those games each kind of had one overarching sort of like hidden puzzle that was there, that once you knew it, there were all these other puzzles in front of you that you didn't know or you didn't know how to tackle, and like you suddenly know how to solve them all. I
Yeah.
have a feeling this one's different. It sounds like there's a lot of different things
Yeah.
like that in the game.
I would say there's not something like the one overarching thing, right? Like there's
Okay.
that moment, the witness, where it's kind of like, oh, there's a whole different type of puzzle that I didn't know about, right? And then you're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go chase this. This is like a lot of micro versions of that, right?
Okay.
Where you're like,
Great.
oh, this is a whole thread. And
Great.
like you can spend a lot of time on that one thread, but like it'll kind of resolve by just giving you like a key clue that then feeds into like another one of those and another one of those. And it feels bottomless, which like maybe is daunting because maybe it's kind of like, oh, I
Yeah,
kind of
Tom
solve
seems
these
nervous
things, but
about this.
yeah, it's
Tom's
a life
kind of
killer,
like,
man.
it sounds cool, but like I'm gonna get burnt out on this.
Well, it's not a burnout case. It's just a case of me prioritizing my gaming time. Like I just
Yeah.
am, you know, like I'm currently plugging away at Avowed because
No, I love
I'm
that game.
Great game.
I really am enjoying it.
But if you
And
just critical path it, man, if you just want to finish that game, just critical path it. It's
but
20 hours.
but I don't want to have to
No,
also force myself because I'm especially I'm in the third area of I'm in Shadowstop, which is like so sick. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
The
usually
game does
like
get a lot bigger as it goes too, which I think is
Yeah.
a little bit to its detriment. As cool as
Yeah.
the late game stuff is, I was like suddenly like, oh, I
No,
liked it when it was smaller.
I still feel like the first area they should have just kind of kept it as big as that. Like how
Yeah.
you know, like that felt good to me. But usually I'm not like a desert guy. But what they've done here with it being
It's
like
cool.
like a seabed, like I'm like,
It's
oh,
cool.
it's really cool. So I'm just like constantly like, oh, what's that over there? So I'm just trying to prioritize my time. And the other thing is like I loved The Witness, and so much of what I've seen from people talking is like that. If you love The Witness, you're absolutely gonna love this. And I'm really into it. I just don't want to feel like I have to play 50, 60 hours and feel like that's good to get for it to be rewarding.
I don't think so. Like I think like it's rewarding from the jump. And even if you just like it probably took me 18 hours to get to like credits. Took some people less, took some people more. Like even if you just do that, I think it's very rewarding. And I think it's also a game that like you have to be comfortable going into it knowing that like there's some things I might never solve. And like there's a joy in like having this thing where you're like it's constantly in the back of your mind, right? And it's like anytime you pick it up, you're like, you know, I never did this thing or I never figured out this thing. Like, and that's where I am in the game right now. I've done a ton of stuff, but I have like a ton I haven't done. And I was just like on a plane ride, you know, this past weekend, and it was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna pick up my Steam Deck and just like do 2 runs and you know find something. And even just finding like a tiny clue, you know, that like you don't even know what to do with feels really, really satisfying.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think you need to invest like 100 hours into it like some people have. I think you could put 15 hours into it and be like thrilled, as long as you're kind of like not the kind of person who's like, well, but I need to solve everything. Like you really have to let it like be a thing that
I
that
mean, I
warms your head.
I like the idea of it just being this game that like you jump into.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and get at least one new clue.
Yeah. It's again, it's a roguelike. Like it's meant to really feel like something like a Hades or a Dead Cells, right? Where you're like, I'm gonna pop in and do another run of that. You know, like I haven't mastered this game yet. But instead of doing it with action, it's doing it with your brain. And to me, that's like way more interesting. But I'm also a puzzle sicko, so I don't know.
I'm also a puzzle sicko. It does sound like it's actually going to be a little bit closer to Tunic, in which Tunic there was this moment in which you realize like, oh, there are puzzles everywhere, but actually they all kind of a lot of them required very different methods of solving and understanding what those puzzles were. It was just a matter of I now know there are puzzles, you know. So and that is also again one of just my absolute favorite gaming experiences of all time. Just so much fucking fun that game. Oh my god.
Really cool.
This is so exciting. Do you think it'll be the highest rated indie game of the year? Because there is technically Hades 2 will probably count towards this year, even though, and you've also
Yeah,
got Silksong might actually come out this year, Slay the
I
Spire 2.
yeah, I think Silksong will end up beating it. I think Silksong, like, it's just going to get reviewed off the
It's
hype,
not my
so it's
fantasy
going to get
critic.
reviewed good. Yeah, it's a good pick. Um, yeah, I think it'll actually be a pretty competitive year for indies, but like, I think a lot of the games that'll review better than it are going to be like big name sequels that
Right.
like
This is the
kind
sleeper
of
hit. This is the surprise.
yeah. I think this will be like the best reviewed of the like
Yeah.
new, totally new thing. Whereas, sometimes with sequels, I'm like, we're kind of reviewing the hype a little bit, right? Like Hades 2, it's like, oh well,
Yeah.
it's Hades, so
We're just
it's
getting the
gotta review
refined
well.
experience, like of we're
Yeah.
getting more of what. But hey, I love seconds,
Yep.
right? Who
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
have a great meal? Who doesn't want seconds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It'll be a
you
really
know,
competitive race, I think, if we're looking at indie games. But I think it'll be like Hades, Silksong, and this will be in the race for
God,
sure.
if
I don't
only
know
you
that.
had been on the episode at the beginning of the year or at the end of last year, where I said like once or twice, I was like, what's it going to be this year? Because for the last like half dozen years, there's
Yeah.
been one or two just out of nowhere indie games that most people didn't know about that just take like Balatro.
Yep.
Hades was one of them. Inscription, like
Yep.
games that were just like, oh, these can compete at Game of the Year with AAA studios, and they absolutely deserve to. Man, if I had known
I
about this game, I would have. It's so exciting to have it because I was
yeah.
like, in my head, I'm like, it will happen, but you just don't know. And now to know it's here, I'm
I knew.
so fucking excited for tomorrow. I'm so
I knew,
excited for
man.
tomorrow.
I knew. I swear to God, like the first time I played it, I was like, "Yeah, this is it. This is the indie darling of the
That's
year."
so
Like whenever it
sick.
comes out, I just knew it.
That's so
And
sick.
and when you play it, you know, just because it
Yeah.
like I don't remember who it was. There was somebody at Aftermath was saying like, "There's no other game that is shaped like it." That was like how they put it, and like totally spot on. There's just nothing like it that is similar in any way. You can draw connections and be like, like the loop is kind of like weirdly similar to other roguelikes and like, oh, like it has Riven influence and tone, but there's just not a game that's doing anything it does. And like honestly, those are the games that are interesting to me. Like I could care less about Split Fiction, to some extent. I'm like, okay, yeah, it takes two again, but with a worse story. Great. Like this is the
Oh
thing where I'm
shit.
like, yeah, do you love the story of Split
No,
Fiction?
it's just Alex and I totally agree with that take. We don't think we think It Takes Two actually had a better story, and
I agree.
we still think everyone overreacted to the divorce story in the first game and was like a little oversensitive, especially
I
in a
agree.
world where like we glorify games with like killing and like way more like fucked up shit. And I'm like, really? Like we're gonna like shed crocodile tears about the divorce game? Like maybe you guys need therapy, is the way I was looking at it. I don't know.
No, I agree. I
Yeah, I
agree.
agree. I mean, the mechanics are great. Like it is what I want. I did just want more It Takes Two
Yeah, for sure.
because that game is great, but it is just, and in the same way that it is just going to be more Hades, it is just going to be more Slay the Spire, it is just going to be more Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, it's like
novel. It's new.
yeah, for sure. Like, and this is the kind of stuff that interests me, right? Where it's like, oh, GTA 6 is coming out maybe this year. It's probably not at this point, right? Like, it's probably not this year. But let's
Oh,
say that it
I
does.
thought it was. I thought it was.
That's what they say, but I don't believe them. I don't
I
believe
hope
them.
so. I
Yeah.
I could use with some. I'll tell you what though. I've been getting my rampaging mayhem in with Hitman VR,
Sure.
dude.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That's what
I
you've
know
been playing.
Tom's
Tell
been
me.
going sicko mode
Yeah.
as well in Hitman VR.
I haven't played much since last week, but it's so good. It's so fucking good. How like unbelievable this
It's
it's crazy how
crazy.
it's wild how well the game works as
And it
a
looks
VR title.
great,
Yeah,
especially
it
on the
looks really
PSVR
good.
2 with like
Looks
the
really
OLED
good.
screens. Like it's got to be like other than probably like GT7 and Horizon, it's probably the best visuals. Like it's probably, right after the
Mm.
best visuals that are in VR. But it's the one of the only like VR experiences where you're really like, at scale walking around in these
Yeah.
spaces like eye to eye. Like it's very different. And if I screw up the mission and I decide I'm gonna go sicko mode, there's a great glitch that I again really hoping they don't fix. And all you got to do is sit or crouch down, and you recenter the screen to your lower height, and then when you stand up, you're a giant, and your hitbox, the enemies can't shoot at it. So then you're invincible, and you can just run around and just fuck shit up. With
That's
like the
awesome.
eye tracked throwing, dude, you get like any kind of melee weapon that throws, it's all eye tracked. So you just look at the person and throw it, and you feel like you're throwing like Mjolnir and stuff. It's what a good time that game is.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I hadn't heard anybody talk about it, but I guess nobody talks about VR that much, unfortunately. But that's dope.
It's really cool because it gives, I've played a good helping of all three of those games.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to experience those levels in the scale of it, and the intricacies of how they've designed the levels really takes a whole new like kind of life when you're experiencing it in VR. And it's honestly it's if I think a must have if you are someone who is looking for VR content. This is and once they add the freelancer mode, once they finish adding all that, it's gonna be something you can return to pretty frequently.
I'm hoping they like to do VR, that team, so I'm hoping maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get after Bond comes out, maybe they'll do a VR edition, because that would be, I mean, one would hope that part of the reason they decided to do this work was so that, to prepare for that.
I do think so, because as much as I have always thought, IOI being on Bond, it makes sense with the Hitman stuff. But at the same time, Bond has like set pieces and like action sequences. Like there's stuff that you need in a Bond game that is not present at all in the Hitman stuff. And so I've always been like, what happens when I need to control this character in like a fast-paced, what's that going to feel like? Because you don't have that like really at all. But in the VR version, like when it's
oh my god
mode, and I'm ducking and I'm like switching and reloading guns, and I'm like pulling things on the back, like I'm like, oh, I actually see the Bond game now through this. And so, maybe the work translates kind of in the reverse.
Dude, the panicking of like you screw up and a guy sees you, but like if you could take him down in time, but like, oh, I don't have any, so I just have to like I just throw something at him, and then I have to run over and try and like strangle him, and
choke him
you're doing it in VR, and it's so intense because you're actually like grabbing the guy with your hands, and you're like, it's intense.
The
this is a crazy game.
Me, I just turn around and like I fucking
Did you start fighting?
I'm like, no. I try and leave. I try that view. It was really cool. Also, like what I love is where the detail on the interactions is kind of crazy. Like I was playing it at a friend's place, and I just had a screwdriver, and I snuck up behind a guy sitting at a computer, and I just like held the screwdriver over the head and just went boop and let go, and the head wobbled with the screwdriver like fucking sticking out, and I was like, and then I was just doing that to everyone in the room. It was so awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
it is. I gotta check it out.
Great. It's very cool. Speaking of VR, we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to hit this one little piece of news. Nice. Walkabout mini golf. Also, indie sleeper. Look, Gia, we haven't gotten you in there. We got to get you in there.
I know.
We got to get you in there.
I know.
So it is now
we'll
a part of
PlayStation.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah, Gia's coming.
Oh,
can you imagine if you had me on here and
so excited about that. I did not know.
I'm be there.
So excited to get to hang out with you. I meant to text Tom ahead of time because I didn't want to ask and then be like, no, I'm not going to.
I should have pretended. I should have been like, what would I?
Oh, because I have said to Tom before, I'm like, just you and Brooke and Geo, Alex is never leaving the East Coast. Just move to the West Coast.
Mhm.
Bring because Geo, I would hang Geo, you I would subsume you into my friend group.
I would
You would
love
become
Subsumed.
that.
one of us. It
You'd
would
be
be
That would
great.
be
subsumed.
that would be lovely, but I will never go there.
Um,
You'll never get me out of New York.
He's like
I'll
a
never go back.
cockroach
I'll
dug
never
Yeah,
go
into the.
back.
I'll survive here until
Um,
I get priced out.
I mean, I get. Look, we're a city without a little Italy. I get it.
Yes.
Okay, like I get it.
Yes. I can't do that.
So Walkabout Mini Golf, it is available on PlayStation Plus and whatever the Quest thing is. So it is a game that you can get through those subscriptions, which is great. But here's something crazy that you're going to hear me say. They are increasing the price of the game from $15 to $25. Now,
Big jump.
that's noteworthy for two reasons. A, you rarely see a video game go up in price, very rarely. And B, you almost never hear of a VR game. This might be the time that it's happened. I don't know if that's happened before in the VR gaming space, which tells you
Yeah.
two things. It's not just a like runaway hit in VR. That's just a runaway hit, period. Um, the thing they are doing is they are including 6 of the DLC courses that have come out since the game first came
Got it.
out now in the game. Now, I think part of the reason they're doing this is because they have a really consumer friendly feature in the game, which is if your friend owns any DLC, you don't need to own it to play the course. So there are probably a lot of people that go like they get this game, their friend tells them to get the game, and then only one person in the group like owns the DLC, right? So then they're just getting that one $15 buy-in. And now here we are 4 years after the game came out, and they're still putting a new course out. They're putting a new course out now every 7 to 8 weeks. And they're $3.99 when they put out a new course. So I think there's probably a little bit of like the initial investment now for people that play and like join the game, they're not necessarily like paying enough like for what they're actually getting value wise. But the other reason they're doing it is the base courses the game came with were all games that were made by either the one developer, Lucas Martel, when he started the game alone, or the like one or two people he hired like later on after a handful of the course to come out. Now it's a 35-person team.
Whew.
Which is like
Okay.
they have, which tells you like how special this game is, because VR is a area that like games cannot seem to like find a footing. There's very few that have done it. And this is a game that has literally like been integral to like building a studio. This game, there's like a studio built around this game, and they have like a pipeline of they're just updating games. They're adding new features all the time. They're putting out regular DLC. I mean, it's incredible. Like people need this game needs to somehow break out of it. I feel like it's very close to breaking out of the conversation of just VR spaces. Like this is the game that should be selling VR to people. This is the Wii Sports of VR. And I think it's hit like that critical moment now in the VR space,
Mhm.
but it still hasn't like yet broken out. But I think this is a sign that it's probably close. Like if a game's gonna do it, like what other game than like maybe Beat Saber has actually done that?
Yeah.
I can't think of any. Like Beat Saber's probably like the one game that probably everyone knows if they heard that game. Oh, I know what that is. That's a VR game, and I know what
Yeah.
that VR game is, and I've seen it. This is going to be the next one, I think. And I think
Yeah.
that's
And
sick.
it's it's tough though, because it's like it's hard to get people like how old is that game now, right? It's
Well,
like
so it came out
a
in
couple of years.
2020. Yeah,
Right.
but that's the thing. It's like they're now just like because they've been putting out all this DLC, it's just grown. It just
Yeah.
continues to grow bigger and bigger. Oh, and they've released an iOS version of the game now.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
And it's
Okay.
compatible, so you can play. So if you only have one VR headset at home, your
Yeah.
friend can be in the room, or your partner or whatever, and they can be playing on their iPad with you in VR.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they were smart, they would that's the thing they would be bundling with Quest headsets, right? But I think like especially Meta, their strategy is so like ambitious where they're like, no, we're gonna have Asgard's Wrath 2, and we're gonna bundle this
I
thing
know,
with like
it's
a
crazy to
AAA
me.
$60 game or 60-hour game that like you don't really want to play in a headset for more than 30 minutes. Like this is exactly the kind of game that you just want to play like in a VR session, right? Where it's like, I'm gonna do a course of mini golf. I'm gonna be done in 20 minutes, and my head's not gonna hurt afterwards.
It actually goes more than that. The spaces they've created are so
Yeah.
like tranquil. Like they have amazing
Mhm.
like ambiance. They have really good music, and they're like peaceful. Now they've added like little hangout areas to some of them, and they continue to update and add new
Hell yeah.
sections. Like, oh, you could just go like shoot a slingshot. You don't even have to play mini golf. You could just go to that course area and hang out now. And they're doing that because I can go play this game for like an hour, sometimes two,
Yeah.
and like you come out and you don't feel like it is a rejuvenating because it's calming, right?
Yeah.
Whereas everything else is like sensory overload with VR, and that's where I think everyone's going wrong, right? That's everyone's like, oh, we're gonna build the most visceral, like you're gonna do everything, and it's like, well, no, like I know in your head what you think is the VR experience is like this like unbelievable sensory experience where you have ultimate control. And like, dude, I get it. Like Hitman is like we just talked about it. It's like really
Yeah.
fun and goofy, but like not gonna put 400 hours into Hitman.
Yeah.
I played like an hour of Hitman. When I came out of it, I gotta go do something else. Like
Yeah.
I'm tired now after Hitman. Like it was fun. Like I had a good time, but like my adrenaline was getting up during Hitman. Your heart rate's going up during Hitman.
For sure. For sure.
The opposite's happening in mini golf. And I think that's like just for whatever reason. And I don't know why Meta doesn't get this because in their heads, the thing they want everyone to do is this. The Meta Quest is gonna be the place where you go hang out online, but they're pushing games that aren't that.
Yes. I also think that they just want it to feel like a AAA platform, right? It's like last year you had them launch the Batman game on it, which is fantastic. That Batman game is really tremendously good. But like I if you're trying to compare AAA games to AAA games, like a VR AAA game doesn't feel as
Yep.
big and impressive as anything. Like even Asgard's Wrath 2, it still doesn't feel, like Kingdom Come 2, right? It still feels limited in some way. Like I think people are trying in VR to like push too far beyond the like you want VR tech to kind of follow what the evolution of gaming was, right? Like the early days of VR felt like Atari, right? Where it was like, oh, these little experiments, they're really short games, right? Where it's like, whatever. I
Yeah,
feel like
there
they
wasn't even
tried,
like shading on anything. It was just, yeah.
yeah.
That.
And I feel like they tried to jump straight from that to like the Nintendo 64
Yep,
and then from that to like PS4. And like
that's true.
we missed these periods in between of like, okay, let's like build these smaller scale arcade games or things like that like really take advantage of the platform and push it, but still like, scale up in scope as we go to kind of get people into it. Like my favorite VR game in the last couple of years is Thrasher, which is like a game from some of the people that did Thumper, rhythm game. It's fantastic. And to me, that's the game I want to play on VR right now. I don't really want to do 5 hours in VR playing a AAA game because like it hurts my head still.
Yeah.
It's like
Yep.
those headsets are still painful. Like you got to work your way up. And I think we should be in like the Super Nintendo era right now and not the PS4 era, but they're just really desperate to have it be like, this is a platform like a next gen console. And it's like, it is not, and do not treat it like that. Walkabout Mini Golf is your game right now.
And it should be. It should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
It's great.
be. Yeah.
We have to get you in. We have to get you in.
Yeah, I mean, I know every episode we say this, and I'm like, I will do it, and then I have to.
They just
review
came out with
100
Mount
games.
Olympus. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Dust off my headset. I haven't gotten to use it in a bit. We'll see.
All right. Well, I think time for some outro music. Tom, this is the last time we're recording.
We didn't
What?
talk about Switch delays.
Oh my God, that was this week.
That was this week.
God,
Yeah,
it's been such a long week.
It's
You
been a
want to
long
back up?
week. We got to talk about it because what I want to discuss with you guys. Okay, so obviously,
Oh, I tried to hit the reverse button, but it just didn't work. All right.
what I want to talk about, because obviously we know this fucking tariff program is very stupid and dumb.
Yeah.
And obviously it's going to affect a ton of different things. The Nintendo Switch just being like the newest thing it's affecting. So everyone agrees, dumb, stupid, it's fucked. I'm curious as to what you think Nintendo is going to do, because I know that they have now he's turned around and said, I'm reducing tariffs on everything but China, and it's going to be 10% everywhere else pretty much. And people aren't even sure if that's true because there's other tariffs. Like, is this canceling out those tariffs? We don't know. It's all stupid.
And he doesn't know either.
Yeah, it's just market manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
And done very stupidly.
And obviously. Stupid and obviously, yeah.
But the thing is that, Nintendo isn't making all those switches in Vietnam. Some of them are coming from China, so they still have to worry about these massive tariffs there. And I don't think
which also haven't started
anytime soon.
They haven't
tomorrow
started.
now.
Well, the China one started.
I think the China ones have.
They were written, but I don't believe they actually began.
I thought
unless they are
already.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was
honestly, it was hard to know from the stuff that I read. So
it's really fucked every which way from Sunday. But obviously that turmoil and that kind of like stupidity, what does Nintendo do? Does it release in June in the North America? Do they change the price? What are we looking at?
So here's my guess for right now, and this is assuming that the like new walked back tariffs that like is just a 10% and then China's fucked situation goes through, right? My guess would be that the price doesn't change. My guess would be that like Nintendo probably factored in the 10%. They weren't factoring in the 46%, right?
They come out and said they didn't factor in any tariffs.
I don't really buy that. Like I feel like they're just saying that because they don't want to
the pot.
There was a leaked, I can't remember where it was from, but there was a leaked cost that supposedly it cost around $340 like for them to build the Switch. Which is what they're selling the Japanese one for, which could correlate to them selling it to Japan at cost, which like even if they build in 10% or 25%, like if these things get hit with that China tariff at 104, 125%, like this.
So they do manufacture some things in China, but they actually moved a lot of their manufacturing out of China in 2019 because of Trump's first term in tariffs, right? So they moved a lot of their manufacturing in Vietnam and also Cambodia. I believe they also manufacture quite a bit in. So my guess would just be that like the units that they ship and import into North America will be the ones from Vietnam and Cambodia, right? Like that's the stuff that gets imported in, and then like the Chinese stock just goes to every other country, right? That would be my guess. Don't know if it works like that. I don't know. But that makes the most sense to me, right? I don't think the price goes up. I think if the 10% reciprocal tariff goes through, I think as much as they're saying, oh, we didn't factor it in, I'm sure they factored in that 10%
they have to have done, because the pricing on this thing globally is so out of whack. Usually there is, and I'm not saying it's necessarily like we are factoring in a potential 10% tariff. I think it is based on the entire economic turmoil that is being spearheaded by the American government. Like, because instead of it being like it's all over the place everywhere. Everyone's fucking country has some wackadoo price that makes no sense compared to how it's priced in other places.
The tip off is the Japanese pricing on the like region locked Japanese model. Like the fact that is so much cheaper, and they specifically made it so that you cannot import it because it's a non-English version. Like they did that specifically because like we have to sell it at a cost higher in the US, and we don't want people getting around the loophole. Like they can say whatever they want, but I don't know.
I think that is partially also though, because I mean the Japanese, like their currency has
The
been
yen is quite good. Yes.
yeah, it's been well, it's been so weak. So
Right.
I think a lot of people there, like maybe I think it is possible Nintendo's like, we will curry more favor, like making our money on sales and being like, like it's sort of a pro like Japanese move for them. But that
Yeah,
is probably like something they've taken into consideration as well.
I think so. I think there's a couple of factors there. But yeah, my guess would be that this goes off as normal. My guess is that like by the time this episode goes out, they might put the pre-order information back online, knowing that like the 46% Vietnam tariff is gone for now. My guess is pre-orders go up. Like this thing is paused for 90 days, which is like, so you want to get that thing out quick, right? Like you want to get that thing out because I think it's supposed to launch.
They should have shipped it last year with less software.
Yeah, genuinely. Like I think you've got like 40 something days or like 36 days. I don't remember what it is until that console launches. Like you get that thing out, get as many sold as you can before the 90 days hits, and then see what happens then. And then if you have to do the price increase when it's already out, it's like, well, at least you sold a bunch of stuff. And at least all these like games that are really exciting are actually out now. So people are going to be like, oh shit, I should buy.
They're gonna if they have to raise the console price, they're gonna do like an ambassador pass, like the 3DS.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I don't see the price going up at this point. If like the new
that'd be great
situation goes through,
that'd be great.
I think if they had left the insane like Chat GPT tariffs as they were, there was like no way that price wasn't going to go up. But I think with the backtracking, I imagine it'll be the same. But I think it might go up after, after launch.
Right. Well, almost assuredly, because that just seems to be what's happening with hardware nowadays. So yeah. We shall see. Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement. It just is like logistically, can they pull it off? I imagine also it will result in fewer units available to the US just inherently. I'm sure they don't want that, obviously, but I think that I think that it's going to be, if you want one,
it might result in more units to the US up front.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
like while the price is lower before the tariffs come in, like you're going to sell as many as you can.
If they can ship them, like there's a limitation there.
They've said that there's already units in the US.
Right.
Like they've been planning for this launch. There's already stuff that is ready to go.
National treasure style.
We're gonna steal.
Oh my god! The back of the Declaration. There's a secret room at the Nintendo store in New York City, and it goes down into a old chapel in the.
Probably is. It's probably where they're buried.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll see though. Again, we might post this tomorrow, and the guy might wake up and be like, "I've decided to put 90% tariffs on the island of penguins."
He's
and
like,
we'll be like, okay.
He's like, oh, you thought I was stopping them from 90 days? No, 90%, 90% tariffs.
I misspoke. Yeah. We'll see what happens. It'll be a bummer though, because man, I'll tell you, after demoing that thing, like as cynical about like the price and all this stuff as I was in the moment. And I wrote a bunch of stuff about like, I don't know about the price of Mario Kart. Like, I don't think I want to spend $80 for a game. I've been thinking about that thing since I played it. And I've been like, man, I want that thing now. Yeah. Like I loved going hands on with that thing, and I loved everything with it. And I was like, man, I just want to play like that Donkey Kong game. It's great. I want to play Metroid with those good mouse controls.
I want to play Metroid with the mouse controls. So Gio, I'm one of those sickos where when I was playing PC games for my PC died, I went and I bought a PS3, the like nunchuck thing that they basically made for the Move controller, because to me the ultimate control scheme has always been mouse joystick, not mouse and keyboard.
I'll tell you, man, as someone who has demoed Metroid Prime 4 with that control scheme, like it's unbelievable. Like I couldn't believe how well that it worked. Like
I'm such a Metroid Prime boy. I'm so excited.
Me too. I tried Civ 7 on my pants, and I couldn't quite get it to work, but I don't know if it was just that Civ 7 wasn't optimized for pants. I was also wearing like pretty rough jeans at that point, so I was like, like maybe I just don't have the right fabric. I'm just
curious if they're going to sell, or at least third party is going to sell like little lap desks.
Yeah.
Probably, but
I have a little snack tray, so I have the perfect little
Yeah.
desk for it. But the desks at the demo event that they had us on were like really big, like a size of table you just wouldn't have at a height you wouldn't have. So like that's the weird sticking point with the whole thing. But like,
Sure.
man, when you have that thing running on a table, it is like no latency, no lag, like
Hell
as
yeah.
close to one as you could hope
I
that it would
cannot, dude. Metroid in 120 frames per second is going to be
dude,
so
be.
sick.
It looked.
I can't believe
the demo they had us play was the 120 frames. Was
Yeah,
the 120 FPS version, and
120.
like it was
those
like,
streams.
looked
I
unbelievable.
watched all those Treehouse streams the other night.
Yeah.
And like the recorded versions that fucking they're putting out videos at 21, like full 4K 60 on YouTube,
Yeah.
and they look those games look phenomenal.
It's
Holy shit.
I'm sure you guys went through everything with the console last
Yeah.
week. But like I'm really impressed by the tech on it. And like, granted, you know, I'm impressed with the tech for now. I don't know if I'll be impressed with that tech in 8 years or even like 2 years when like a Steam Deck 2 comes out. But like
Yeah.
for an out of the gate Nintendo console, I'm like, that thing
Yeah.
is really way further advanced than any Nintendo console has ever been. Like that actually
But
feels like a next
People like
console at
us,
that
we're
point.
buying this for Nintendo first party games, right?
Yes.
But we're also the kind of people that would wind up with multiple consoles. A lot of other people who are going to have one, it's going to be able to run so many more third party games for at least the next 4 or 5 years. Honestly, maybe for the majority of its lifetime.
And
because,
I mean, and I think that is the
Yeah.
case because it's you know, I think the big thing, and this is I think also a part of the thing with the price, is that Switch One, it was an off the shelf for the most part NVIDIA.
Dude, it was old when it came out.
It was old when it came out.
Very,
it was in other things. NVIDIA put up that post and they were like, "We've put 1,000 people on this thing. This is built. This is a thing that is built to for the Switch 2." And I think that combined,
they want to sell
with,
another 150 million Switches. So they were like, we need this thing to be fucking
racing.
The thing has DLSS. Like we haven't even seen that in
That's
action.
true.
Yet, and,
They haven't had to even use it yet.
Yeah, like once we start seeing like, oh, can we actually get a next gen game?
I mean,
looking
are we
pretty good on it
sure
with that?
like other games aren't using it? Like, is Metroid not using it?
As far, I don't think so.
It doesn't seem like it.
Nintendo mystery.
Yeah, I don't know. And honestly,
they
like
have to be on Cyberpunk. You got to imagine.
I don't know, man. Like Cyberpunk, honestly,
it could just be
that...
rendering at lower res too.
Yeah, like I demoed Cyberpunk, and like it looked the way that it does on a Steam Deck. You know, like it looked pretty consistent. It was running 30 frames per second on that.
Yeah.
The performance mode, they said it's like only going to be 40, 45, something like that. But like honestly, it's like I was looking at Split Fiction and I was like, this doesn't look AI upscaled, right? Like this looks kind of like not
native.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, native.
Okay.
So like, I think they really haven't. I don't know if anyone's really unlocked the potential of that yet, and I don't know that we'll see anyone using it until like. Yeah, I wonder if like Final Fantasy VII Remake or something is going to use it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Hell yeah,
we got it then.
Oh, I need it.
I need
Mario
it.
Kart World.
I need it.
No.
I'm gonna have a baby like 4 weeks after this thing comes out.
I need it more.
I need it more. I need it the most. Oh, fuck you,
I
Trump.
hope we're all playing Switch
Eat
2 in a
shit.
few months.
I hope so too.
I hope so. We'll do a tournament, Mario Kart tournament.
Oh, hell yeah.
Suck it.